Hello, welcome to another midday recipe with me, Chef Day, here in my kitchen. Welcome to everyone who is joining me today. Welcome to everyone who's coming back. We're getting lots and lots of people coming back and also making our recipes. So the deal is that you guys can ask me as many questions as you want to. I talk quite quickly, so sometimes you might want to say, Day, what was that? I completely missed that bit. Can you please say that again? Which is absolutely fine. We want to hear those things from you guys. Or you might want to know about substitutions. You might have recipe requests. So there are quite a few recipes that we're doing lately that are actually requests from you guys. So you guys can ask me questions and I'll be able to see it here on my computer. So just let me make sure that we are firstly the right way around, which is always a good start, but it does happen sometimes. And let me just check that I can see all of your brilliant, difficult questions. You guys are going to ask me difficult questions, right, today? About vegan food, please. I don't know about anything else. That's it. I only know about vegan food. Okay, so there I am. There I am. Still a little bit wonky. Don't know why I'm still a little bit wonky. So, who do we have? Colleen, you are quick off the mark today. Katie, thank you for joining us and thank you for being admin today. So Katie will be admin, so if there are any questions that I miss, because sometimes that does happen, then she will be able to just give me a little bit of a nudge and make sure that I answer all your questions, basically. So Sarah, good morning from North London. Good morning from Sussex. Thank you for joining us today. Jim, thank you for joining us, and Danielle and Karen as well. So, as I said, a lot of you are coming back, which is really, really great. If you are making any of our recipes, please do take a photo and share a photo of it in our community hub. You can also give us feedback. If you have problems, then we can troubleshoot for you, because sometimes recipes go wrong. Sometimes they do go wrong, and sometimes we can actually help you figure out what went wrong with it. Sue said I'm being naughty. Fish at the end of the rainbow. Sue, shh. Okay, so in every show we have a rainbow somewhere in our kitchens. Just because it's a really lovely thing to do, and of course, you know, rainbows are big at the moment, and it's a really, really lovely symbol of hope and also happiness. So we have a rainbow in our kitchen, and today, and recently, what we have started to do in my kitchen anyway is to ask you what is at the end of the rainbow, because actually, like, finding the rainbow is becoming incredibly easy for you. All of you guys are well practiced in finding the rainbow, so now it is what's at the end of our rainbow. And yes, today at the end of our rainbow is salmon, because that is what we are making a substitute for today. Somebody else said it's a rainbow trout, which I didn't even think of that. That's perfect. So there we go. So on to today's recipe. So we are making a smoked salmon carrot lox. So this is a substitute for smoked salmon. It's really, really quite straightforward. Mick, thank you for joining us. Justine, thank you for joining us again, and Hope, lovely to have you in the group with us today. Okay, so yes, we're making a smoked salmon substitute, also known as carrot lox. You may have seen it out there. There's a few different ways of doing it. I'm going to show you my favourite way. I have made these cute little mini blinis today. These are what I call skinny blinis because they're thin. They're very, very thin. And the reason why I want them to be this thin is because I want to be able to taste the flavour of the stuff that's on top of them rather than the taste of the actual blini. So, you know, I make sure that these are really, really quite thin, so the flavour of the stuff on top is the dominant flavour. So I've made these very, very skinny, very, very thin, and I will share the recipe of that with you later on today in the community hub. Really, 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 really simple. So we'll move these over and then we'll get started with our smoked salmon. So we have around 200 grams of carrots. It doesn't have to be exactly 200 grams of carrots, but around that. Anne says, hi chef, hope you're well today. I am very well. I am very, very well. Thank you for joining us. And I hope that you're well too. Right, okay, so I'm just going to chop the ends off there, and we want to make these into ribbons, just using a good peeler. So it's really, really good to use the board. Sometimes you'll see people peeling like this, but you want to use the board so that you've got that to press against. So you can either do like that with your hand there, or like this. There we go, and we're just using the pressure of the board rather than holding it in midair and trying to have pressure on this hand. So, of course, we want to make sure that our fingers are out of the way, and we just want to get good strips. And that's why actually having it on the board really, really helps, because we can really press down, we can get some nice strips out of it, like that. There we go, and I'm going to keep on going, but we are going to have a bit of food waste today because we will have these bits, but tomorrow Katie will be showing you what to do with food waste with her recipe for summer rolls. I'm hoping that because she's making summer rolls tomorrow, she's actually going to bring the sunshine with her, because it's dull here today. It's dull. Colleen said, Jeff, shh. I know. It was one of those urgent calls that I think that he couldn't not take. He's still working. See, this is one of the joys of this situation, is that we're both working from home. At the moment, usually it would just be me working from home, but now he's working from home too. So I don't know if you guys are having that also. It's not only you can't go out the house, but you also have to learn how to work alongside your partner, which is interesting. which is very interesting. There we go. But we're making it work. Okay, so we just want to get these into nice ribbons, as I was saying. There we go, on tour. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us again. It's really, really lovely that you guys are coming back and hanging out with us, and we're getting to know you guys a bit too. Okay, so there we go. We've got all of our bits of carrot. Just pop these to one side whilst I introduce you to a new member of the team. So, it's over here, and here is our new member of the team. How awesome is this? I'm so pleased with this, honestly. So basically, now I've got this portable hob, it means that I can always do my shows this way round for you guys, because I think it's a much better setup. So you've got all of this around me. So I'm going to pop my pan onto my hob, get it warmed up, and then in here we can pop in the different liquids that are going to impart these lovely flavours into the carrots. So you'll see in some recipes they say to put it into the oven. I find it dries out a bit too much. Diane said, but he does benefit from a lovely vegan lunch every day. Yes, Jeff does benefit from lots of vegan food, always in the house. We always have an abundance of it. So, Paul said it's sunny here in the Western Island for the moment. I'm jealous. But it is one of those lovely days where it's really nice and cosy to be inside. So, anyway, right, so we've got our carrots, so around 200 grams of carrots, and then we're going to pop in 3 tablespoons of olive oil into here. 1. Here we go. Jenny, yeah, glad of this one is how my nori sheets delivered yesterday, so now can make use of them with this recipe and the fish pie. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so for the different flavours that are going to go in here, first of all, we had our olive oil. Now we have some tamari. So just 1 teaspoon of tamari. Actually, where's my teaspoon? There we go. 1 teaspoon of tamari, or you can use soya sauce. Pop that into here. And then we just want to add either, sorry, let me just take this off for a second. Either we can add some liquid smoke. And this is one that I get from Salmon. There we go. I'll bring this closer up to the camera in a moment. You can use nori sprinkle to go with that if you want to, if that's something that you've got in the house, or you can make your own by toasting and crumbling some nori sheets, or you can use this, which is kelp powder. Now, the only thing that I would say with these is that it will give a colour, a texture to it. You see that greeniness, you see the flakes, and I wanted to get around that. So, Sarah said, can I use coconut aminos instead? Yes, absolutely, you can. So instead of using these, what I am going to use is this lovely ingredient. So this is from Weed and Wonderful, and again, I'll bring it up to the camera in a moment. And it is intense smoked seaweed oil. So I'm going to pop that in to here, and then that will not only give the smoked flavour, but also the seaweed flavour. So I'll be using a few drops of this. But of course, I know that this can be difficult to get a hold of. You can get it on the internet though, but you know, if you're not in the UK, but you can use the kelp powder, the nori sprinkle, nori sheets, you can do that yourself, and the liquid smoke. You can also use smoked salt as well. So there are a few different ways that you can do it depending on what you can get wherever you are. Okay, so we'll just pop this into here, put the carrot into there, and give it a good mix round. There we go. Just make sure that all of this is covered. We're not going to cook it for very long because it's very, very thin already. It doesn't need to cook for very long at all. Let me just, there we go. I'm just going to put it onto a low heat because I know that I'm going to get talking to you guys and I don't want this to overcook. Okay, so Anne said, is it a salmon at the end of the rainbow? Happy not to be on the menu. Yes, it's our very happy free salmon. There we go. So we just want to put a few drops of this, and it is intense as it says on the bottle. So I'm going to go really, really gently with it. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little splash of water because we want a bit of steam to get up, because we want the carrot to steam, basically. That's what we want. That's like the cooking process that we've got here. We're not going to be baking it or frying it or anything like that. We just want it to steam. There we go. So I've got it on a very, very low setting at the moment, and I've put a lid on it because that will help the whole thing steam. Any alternative to liquid smoke? Yes, so your alternatives are, you could use something like this, which I'll show you in a second, which is our smoked seaweed oil. You could use that. You could also use smoked salt. I think that is probably, smoked salt is probably the easiest thing to find. Yeah, so I would use that as a substitute. But of course, you know, you just have to watch out that you're not going to make it too salty. And I bought some liquid smoke a while ago and didn't know what to do with it. So happy I have a recipe now to try it with now. Good, good, good. Right, let me come around there and I'll show you a close-up of these. So this is Weed and Wonderful Intense Smoked Seaweed Oil. So it is a little bottle, but a little bit goes a long way. There we go. So you guys can check these out. They are on the internet, I think, as weedandwonderful.co.uk. Weedandwonderful.co.uk. Okay, and then this other thing that we have here. This is our liquid smoke. So I used to get the other liquid smoke that you can get in lots of supermarkets, but I actually prefer this one, which is from Salmon. And I think that this one is a purer ingredient. It has less other stuff in it, so I really, really do like this one. And again, you know, small bottle, but a little bit goes a long way. And then the other options that you've got is something like kelp powder. let me just see if I can get, there we go. So you can see what the kelp powder looks like. You see, you know, it's kind of grey, dark green and grainy. So we can use that with our carrot, but you just have to be aware that it will then give it this kind of colour. And of course, we've got our green nori sprinkle, which you can get lots of places now, and you can also make your own. So let's just have a look at this carrot and see how it's doing, because we do not want to overcook it at all. Like, that's the worst thing that you can do with this recipe. That's the only thing that can go wrong, really, is that you cook it for too long and then it becomes quite sweet, because you know, it's quite sweet. It's quite a sweet vegetable. And so if we cook it for too long, then it will just get far too sweet and also, you know, a bit too soft. Okay, let me just see if I've missed any questions. I've probably missed loads of questions. Right, okay. Brian said, oh man, can't wait to try this. I love your enthusiasm. You're always as enthusiastic as I am about food, which is great. Is England just so much further along with plant-based vegan options? Then where? Then where? Where are you, darling? I don't know where you are. Susan, I think we probably are. Well, we have had a lot of growth in the last 3 years, I would say. I've been vegan for 25 years, and this has been a long time coming for me. A long time. I've been like, can we have like new, you know, restaurants and better stuff in the super? I mean, when I first went vegan, you couldn't get soy milk in the supermarket. It was literally, you just had to go to the health food shop, and there was like one health food shop in your town if you were lucky, and that was it. So it's great that this has changed. Brian said the USA. Okay, so with the USA, it really depends where in the USA, because I know that there's great vegan scenes in California and San Francisco and also New York. Definitely in all of those like 3 places. But I also know that sometimes in various places in the US there are vegan wastelands. Like, there's nothing there at all. So I think it really depends on where you are. So just getting this out and seeing, is it just, because I like it so it's still got a bit of bite to it. So I'm using my fork to test its doneness. And it is just about done. So I'm going to turn this off. We can set it to one side and it can stop being noisy. Actually, guys, can you just tell me, when this was on, was it too noisy? Because here it sounds really loud, but I don't know if for you it sounds loud, so I would really appreciate it if you can tell me that. Okay, so let's just move our new teammate over to the side. There we go. Whilst we get on with the sour cream, or the cream cheese to go with it. Gloria, thank you for joining us again. And Sue, I did check where you were, Brian, before answering. Okay, good. Okay, so onto our cream cheese. So the cream cheese is really easy. We have 100 grams of cashew nuts here, and this has been soaking in some hot water for about 10 minutes. Oh, Colleen and Danielle, thank you for commenting on that. The sound was good and it wasn't too loud. Good. Gloria, you are late, but that's okay. It's good that you came. Right, okay, so we have our cashew nuts here, 100 grams of cashew nuts, soaked in some hot water for about 10 minutes. I did it just before we were on air. Oh, so it's probably about 20 minutes. Time flies when you're having fun. And we also have our yogurt here. So you can make a cream cheese, sour cream type thing just with cashews. But as I've mentioned to you guys before, I find that cashew nut based things can just be far too heavy. That was the doorbell. I don't know what is happening in my house today. Normally it's like completely quiet. And today it's really busy. But anyway, yes, so with the cashew nut stuff, I do find it too heavy, so I like to lighten it. Sometimes I use something like silken tofu. Today, I'm using some yogurt. So this is a lovely cashew nut yogurt from Nush. I hope you guys can see that. Really difficult to get soy yogurt at the moment, don't know why. Obviously, soy yogurt is like a quarantine thing, don't know. No, not too hard at all. Thank you for your feedback on that. And so that she could hear it, but it wasn't distracting. Good, great. Okay, so I'm just going to go and take the water from these. So soaking them just for those 20 minutes means that they're nice and soft. And that's going to really help out our blender. So if you've got something like, you know, a fancy NutriBullet or a Vitamix, the Porsche of blenders, then you probably won't need to soak them. That's fine. But for someone like me who doesn't have these things, then we can just soak them for about 10 minutes. But you know, it doesn't take long at all. So into here I'm going to add 6 tablespoons of our yogurt. You can use any dairy-free yogurt that you want, but I suggest that you don't use one that has sugar added to it. So 4, 5, 6. There we go. Right, managed to do that just about without forgetting the numbers. Diane, so could we use silken tofu instead of yogurt? Yes, you could. You could, absolutely. Amala, thank you for joining us. Yes, you could use silken tofu. Try to use about the same amount. I think you'll be fine with that. The only thing is, you know, I mentioned this when we did our raspberry tart recipe. It can have quite tofu-y flavour. Funny that, tofu, taste of tofu. But some people don't like that flavour when it's in a recipe. So just bear that in mind. But we're going to put some other ingredients into this anyway, so it isn't just going to be tasting of the tofu and the cashews. So we are also going to be adding some lemon juice and some lemon zest. This is a massive lemon. We don't need to, normally I would say the zest of 1 lemon, but this is massive. This is the joy of ordering organic fruit and veg, is that you just don't know what size you're going to get. So there we go, we've got a lovely microplane here that I'm using. For anybody out there who has a vegan foodie in their life, this is a great present for them. It's such a good present, they will absolutely love you forever. So this is a microplane. It's great for doing things like zest, but also you know, garlic and ginger and that type of thing. Use it for that. Nutmeg, yeah, so you know, it's a proper like chefy thing. So it's a good present to get someone. Okay, so we've got our lemon zest in there. We might want to add some lemon juice as well, but really we've got loads of lemony flavour just from the zest. So I'm going to first of all blend it and then see what the texture's like, because of course if I add the juice, what's going to happen? It's going to make it more runny. Okay, so just before we do that, I am mindful of the fact that I want these guys to cool down. So they've steamed a bit more. I know that they're going to be the right texture that I want. I'll get my tongs, which are another good present for a vegan foodie. Okay, so right there are carrots. Absolutely love these tongs. They're really, 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 really helpful. I got these from a company called Nisbets. Nisbets. I can never remember which. Katie, would you be able to find a link to Nisbets? If you just Google it, Google what you're talking about. So Nisbets is a catering and restaurant supplier, but they will also supply to just, you know, regular customers. So you don't have to be a restaurant or a cafe to use them. Okay, so we'll just put our carrots to one side whilst we finish making this. We've got our blender here, just check that it's on. Diane said, oh sorry, I've already answered that question. Laura, thank you for joining us again. Gloria said, I have a narrow one and one like mine. Okay, geez. It's two, you've got 2 in the house. That's impressive. Okay, so now to this, you can add garlic granules if you want. If you are going to add garlic salt, then just bear that in mind, because you may not need to add any other salt. I'm just going to add a little bit in there. I don't want to make it too garlicky. And of course, nutritional yeast. These are all things that you add to taste. There we go. and a little bit of our salt from our lovely, cute little salt pig. There we go. Okay, and now we'll give this a good blend. Oh, thank you for sharing that, Katie. Okay, so it's called Nisbets. Nisbets. I don't know why I always call it Nesbits. Anyway, right, we'll just give this a good blend. Blending it, it could actually do with a bit more liquid in it, just to help the blender go round, or to help the blender make the cream cheese go round, rather, you know, and that means that it's going to blend more. So let me just get my bowl. I'll pop in some lemon juice from this massive lemon. Oh, yeah, Katie's saying that she calls it Nesbits too. Glad I'm not the only one. There we go, just pop some in there. Since noon, in the last few minutes, I've shared this Facebook group. Oh, great, thank you. We've already got 7 likes. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So you guys, if you do want to share the live, I believe that it gives you the option of doing that during the live. It will come up with a little button that says share, and you can just share that onto your own timeline, and it would be great if you could do that, because, you know, the more people that we can get cooking, the better, and the more people we can get interested in vegan food, the better. I could go on. I just give this another blend and try and get it as smooth as I can. As I said before, I always get a hand blender that is 500 watts or over, so that it will have a bit of oomph to it. Because especially when you're grinding something like nuts, even though we've soaked them, it still needs a bit of power. And the more that we blend this cashew cream, the more it will actually get smooth. So we just need to bear with it. So you'll see there that I'm actually moving this around at the same time. So, you know, in my journey as a chef, and when I started to share recipes, I did consider buying something like a Vitamix, because, you know, for me, for someone like me, I use those things all the time. It's not just going to sit there and gather dust, so, you know, it would be like a good investment. But what I decided was that most of the people that are watching me, that I share recipes with, they won't have one. So I decided to stick with hand blenders and just see if I could kind of like teach myself how to use one and how to get like the most out of it. And so you can actually do so many things with a hand blender, especially one that has a chopper attachment to it as well. And so you just need to learn like how to make the blender happy, basically. You know, what does it need? It does need us to guide it around a bit. It does need a bit more liquid in there just to get stuff moving. But we can do so much with a hand blender that has cost me 24 quid. We are done with our cashew cream, and I will come and show you guys what this looks like. Just a second. There we go. Right, okay. So I just want to show you guys how creamy this is. So it's done a really, really good job, and that's literally just because we have soaked our cashews. and also just because we persevered, and we've got a blender that is over 500 watts. There we go. It's given us a, you know, we don't have like many bits in there. It's pretty damn smooth. Okay, so I'm just gonna get rid of all of this. Just one tip about blenders: don't put your finger in here, especially if it's attached to the other bit and it's still plugged in. I have heart attacks when I see people doing that in front of me. I used to do a lot of classes from home, and this class that I would always teach was a kind of like chocolate cheesecake, like chocolate avocado cheesecake, and quite often people would come in couples, either, you know, actual like romantic partners, or, you know, mums and daughters and that type of thing, and one of them would be holding this bit and then the other one would have their finger up there, and this person would have their finger on the button as well. Oh my gosh, you know, gosh, yeah, hated seeing that. Anyway, back to today's recipe. Right, we're nearly done. We have our little skinny blinis here, so I'm just going to pick out some nice cute little ones that have a good shape to them. As I said, I will put the recipe for the blinis up onto the community hub later on today. There we go, maybe not that one. That one is cute. And then I have some chopped herbs that I have stored in the fridge, so I'll just go and get those. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Right at the back of the fridge. There we go. So this is some finely chopped parsley that I chopped yesterday. I made too much, so I just popped it into a container and then into the fridge. So we'll keep it nice and fresh. And really, you know, with this type of recipe, I want to make sure that that parsley is chopped as finely as possible, which is a test of patience. There we go. But also a very, very meditative thing to do. I don't know if you guys find that as well. When you're cooking, you can just kind of like go into this zone and just forget about everything else that is worrying you for a bit, and just be, I mean, it's just a really, really lovely way to be very present, because, you know, you just need to focus on this. You don't need to think about anything else. You don't need to worry about anything else. You can just focus on creating some really lovely, healthy food for you and your family. Here we go. So the beautiful thing about this smoked salmon is that you can make some really lovely shapes with it just by twisting it, and you can really have some fun with that too. And you know, it's kept this lovely colour because we haven't added anything, you know, too dark for it with it, but it has this smoked flavour because we have used this lovely magic ingredient. So we just add a little bit of cream. A little bit of cream always helps. So you can add some chives or some dill if you have it. We didn't have any, so we're just having a little bit of parsley today, and I will bring these round to you guys so that we can get a close up. There we go. There we go. How cute are those? How cute are those? Really, really, really lovely. So these would make a great canapé as well. Just a snack to have out in the garden with a few cocktails. Somebody actually shared their cocktail on our Facebook page today, which is their quarantini, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. So the other day we did talk about kombucha cocktails, so do catch up with that live recipe if you're interested in kombucha and kefir, and you want to kind of like dip your toe in it. Not literally, That would be weird. Usually we drink it, but whatever floats your boat. Anyway, thank you for joining me and thank you for sharing the videos that we're doing. Gloria said, I used to give kelp powder to her horses. Oh wow, lucky horses. Yes, so join us again tomorrow at midday. Always here on our Facebook page. Tomorrow you will have the company of Katie, who will be making a lovely summer rolls recipe, and she'll be talking about food waste. She'll be using lots of bits and pieces that are in her fridge and her cupboards to make the summer rolls, and so that would be a great way for you guys to learn how to limit food waste and use up all those leftover ingredients. So I'm going to eat one of these lovely things, and I'll see you on Thursday. Have a lovely day.